Hello everyone and welcome or welcome back to Tree of Life Tarot. This is going to be a collective energy reading for the week of April 19th through 25th. So let's see what Spirit has in store for us this week. Last week was a major portal that we all passed through. I know I felt it tremendously and am not even fully acclimated to the energy that's on the other side of this threshold we just moved across. So I think the sense I've had is the energies that have been active and all of the lessons and the experiences and the ascension that has been building for the last, since the beginning of the year. It's almost like a hard stop to that and now moving into what's coming next. But the feeling is very different, so I don't even know yet. We'll have to see as we move through this. Okay. Oh, now, hold on. I'm going to pull the crossing card because I have to cover up the card that just came out because of YouTube's rules. So bear with me just a moment. It's the World card. So that's pretty amazing because that is a card of completion. Completion of a cycle. That is way too many cards. I see the Empress sticking out. Okay, there's strength. Okay, so now I will show you these cards. I don't make the rules, I just have to follow them so we don't get in trouble with YouTube. But the lady on the World card does present without her clothes on. I'm also noticing it hasn't come out, but the Empress card is flipped upright in my deck. So strong, defined, feminine energy coming through right now. Oh, she just flipped back over. That was interesting. All right, so near future energy, please. Okay. There really is, my feeling is, oh God, that is too many cards. Spirit, please, one card for crowning energy. I need to stop talking while I'm shuffling. That's what needs to happen. Okay. Okay. I knew that Hierophant was going to come out. Oh, I gotta cover these guys up too. Hang on. Okay, but there's our lovers. Oh Lord, it's probably far enough away, but okay. Whew. Tower. The Two of Cups flipped over, but it's not wanting to come out, so one more. There it is. Ace of Pentacles. Bottom of the cup, bottom of the deck. Not surprised to see this. We have the Seven of Cups, which is our cups of confusion and many different possibilities on the table, stirring up some unclarity in the mind. This is not a bad card, the Seven of Cups, but because a lot of these options that are presenting here are positive, but they're not all necessarily the right path, depending on how we want to read this. And it can just create a lot of mental, agita. Now, what I was saying before Spirit told me to stop talking and shuffle was I do feel like there is a need for some acclimation, acclimatizing, and balancing as this new energy is coming through. Now, we start off with the World card here. So this is the last card of the Major Arcana. It is the card of fulfillment, completion. It's like, for me, it's the big wheel. We have the Wheel of Fortune halfway through the deck of the Arcana that symbolizes, things changing, making changes, the seasons turning. And that speaks to sort of smaller to mid-level changes. The World is the ultimate card in the Major Arcana. So that is the closing of a big cycle, coming to completion. And of course, what happens when one cycle closes? Of course, a new cycle begins. But seeing this card at the center of the deck here really kind of affirms what I've been talking about with this energy shift we've gone through, particularly in the last week. It closed out a cycle. And now we're stepping into something new, but it's disorienting. When a cycle that major closes, even if it was a very challenging cycle, there's a sense of, you know, the devil you know. It's familiar. It's the energies you've been struggling through for so long, but at least you kind of knew what your struggle was. And now that's closing. So now where does that leave us? So if you're feeling disoriented and feeling kind of like, okay, well, that challenge has gone away or whatever this is has shifted, but almost, I don't want to, the words that came were like missing the drama. Do you miss the drama? And Knight of Wands, bottom of the deck here, or bottom of the spread here, excuse me, kind of affirms that. There's like that missing, we can get addicted to that stress energy. And now the world is completed. Justice in the recent past here, so things kind of coming back into balance. And that in itself can be disorienting. So interesting here that we have our recent past and our near future cards are kind of mirroring each other. This is like a small card of justice here. Also gives me a lot of High Priestess energy. Choosing silence, going within. We see this big body of water here behind her that's almost as large as the sky. And this represents the mind and the emotions. The sky representing the mind, consciousness. The water representing emotions, the subconscious, the unconscious, you know, our interior depths. And so there's a need to bring these back into balance. This also represents a decision point. She also has the blindfold on, so she's going within and kind of using that inner eye to see. But she's also a little closed off. Note the swords crossing her chest, representing decisions, also representing kind of, you know, being closed off while we're in that process in order to pull within and find that decision. And so what's interesting to me is we've had this major arcana in the recent past that is very similar to this card in the near future. So it's like the big cosmic shift leading to the need to integrate it individually. And that's where I sort of see us being. I was feeling we need to acclimate, and this is really confirming that for me. Excuse me, I didn't talk about the strength card here. So crossing this card here, I'm gonna have to do this. Okay, so our strength card here, this is sort of our female magician. Notice the Mobius strip above her head. And the way she conquers the lion is not through force. It's not through slaying the beast. It's through, she's conquering it, but gently. She doesn't have a weapon. She is fully in possession of herself and is in tune with that animal within herself and is able to befriend this sort of force of nature that is the lion. And now it's at her service. So strength, it's finding that lion within us and letting it serve us. The bravery. And that's maybe what is being called for in this moment, finding that strength, going within, Two of Swords here, to claim that strength within us after what's been a pretty sustained season of, you know, where a lot of growth has been demanded. It's been quite challenging. So finding that, I want to make sure you can see the cards. Okay, so spoken to that. Knight of Wands beneath the bottom of the spread here, which kind of speaks to what's happening beneath the surface. So this tells me things are still moving very quickly. There's still quite a lot of action. So even though that fiery energy we've been feeling is sort of not as prominent, it's still there. Things are still moving quickly, even if we're coming back into balance and it feels like it's slowing down. This is renewed passion. This is a card, you know, particularly in this deck, it can be impulsive. It can be a little too passionate. So we'll see as we go here. I'm encouraged by what I see at the top here. 10 of Pentacles and the 6 of Wands. So this is my card of coming home victorious. It comes right after the 5 of Wands, which is sort of competing energies, conflicting priorities, you know, challenges. They sort of test us and test our resolve. And then the 6 is the card of victory. And I say coming home victorious in any case, but particularly that resonates because here we have the 10 of Pentacles. So this victory facilitates having this 10 of Pentacles, ultimate abundance, happiness, sort of material. Reward isn't the word, but fulfillment in the material realm, because it's Pentacles. We're talking about, you know, 3D life here. So this cycle we've been through have come out victorious and are now able to enjoy the fruits of the battle, really. It's not just the fruits of the labor, it's the fruits of the battle. I'm going to move this so you all can see. Okay. Now, so the last thing I want to say about this is give it time to integrate. Things are still moving. And actually what I'm really strongly getting here, let me just listen. Yeah, this is a pause. This is not the end. And that's not to say we're going to go straight back into that old energy. It's just to say that chapter of the energy is completed, but we're not at that full resting point yet. The cycle has concluded, but there is still more work to be done. Like one thing has been cleared out, but there is still the next thing, and I'm seeing it actually quite clearly on this side, which we'll get to in a moment. So it's okay to pause and rest. There's a need to find equilibrium here. There's a need to sort of integrate, because I imagine this previous cycle, I don't imagine, I know, this previous cycle has tested your strength. It has required you to find that deeper source of strength within you. You wouldn't be getting through it without having found your inner lion. Just, you know, it's like you've discovered yourself beyond the limits you previously knew of yourself. You've had to dig deep. You've had to push far. And that's not to glorify, you know, hustle, grind culture, that sort of thing. This is, we're talking spiritually here. Breaking out of the you that you were by being pushed beyond sort of the container you're comfortable being in and finding new strength. Because now that you've expanded in that way, you have greater capacity. Greater capacity, 10 of Pentacles. So, and then just following that up by saying, this is a moment of pause, but there's still going to be a lot of activity to come. So take this moment, balance, rest, integrate, do your meditation, because there's a lot more to come. It'll be a different kind of test now, different kind of energy, but there's more to come. Okay, so speaking of more to come, here we go. Bottom here, so how the universe is shaping this, Knight of Cups and the Hierophant. I said when this Hierophant came out, I was not at all surprised to see this card coming out. I was seeing it in the pre-shuffle. And, you know, the Hierophant can speak to sort of traditional structures, you know, the wisdom of, you know, a tried and true elder sort of showing you the way. It can also speak to lessons, and I'm getting lessons here. It's also my card of doing things by the book. So Knight of Cups to Hierophant. This is, and perhaps, you know, notice our two knights here. Knight of Wands facing to the past, Knight of Cups facing to the future. And we've been in this more fiery energy, and perhaps it's just shifting into more of an emotional energy now. It's sort of like, how much can you hold in that cup? And how much can you give from that cup? And the Hierophant is here to guide this process, to teach this lesson. And I am getting a sense, particularly we'll come up to our Three of Pentacles here in a minute, there may be a need for, I was going to say discipline, but I would also, you know, another way to think of discipline is devotion. And I would say devotion particularly because of this cups here. Devotion, you know, ends up requiring and bringing out of us the same actions and growth as discipline, but it's the animating energy we're talking about here. Devotion is doing something in service of love, whether that's love of another person, love of a cause, love of creator or source or God, or however, you know, if you have a religious tradition you participate in. Doing it, it's a willing self-offering for the sake of both your own growth and for something higher. And that's what our Hierophant is coming in to teach. So this does say to me, because this is sort of where we're going now, we're starting to look at the other side of this threshold I've been endlessly talking about. So one thing I would offer here is, if you don't have whatever your spiritual practice is, whether it's tarot, whether it's, if you are involved in organized religion, if, you know, it's meditation or yoga or whatever, finding a structure, a practice, a discipline, a devotion that is going to help you through this next phase, integrate this next round of energy. And, you know, when I did a reading recently on what is the energy shift, the message that came through was sort of refining the fire, figuring out what you do with it now that it's all been built and accumulated. And this Hierophant may well be this traditional practice, what is going to help you integrate that and bring it forward. Then we move here to the Lovers. So this is more like what's happening in the environment. This is very interesting showing up here for me, because I am not getting relationship reads anywhere in this spread. And if you've been watching, you know the last couple weeks there's been heavy relationship energy. I'm not getting any of that here. This is very much you changing the energy, mapping the way forward, and sort of, you know, figuring things out for yourself in a lot of ways. But the Lovers here represents a choice. It represents the integration of our masculine and feminine energies. And mind you, we all have masculine and feminine within us. Think of yin or yang if you want, or solar and lunar energies. These that sort of dance between these polarities. One more receptive, one more active, one more kind of bright and direct, one more mysterious and shadowy. You know, the conscious and the unconscious. So bringing these things together. It also, I'm going to flag this because what I'm seeing here, Justice, Two of Swords, Lovers. Lovers represents decisions. It can be a choice point. So the universe may well be presenting you with a choice point at this point in the journey. And, you know, when those choices come up, they're always a reflection of the work and the growth we've done. Because when you shift your inner reality, the outer reality always shifts as well. There's a lag. It takes time for the 3D to catch up with the 5D, so to speak. But it ends up, as we shift, we attract different things. We come into alignment with different things. And a choice may well come to present itself to you that is going to reflect to you, whether you take the choice or not, but it will reflect to you the growth that you've been through, the new version of you that you have become. Because the old version of you could not have called this in. But the new version, this will show you where you are. Now, whether you take the choice or not, that's up to you. But it will show you, it will give you an indication about where you are. Now we come up here, and this is the hopes and fears position. So this is interesting. Tower, Three of Pentacles, and these are somewhat different cards. Now our Tower here, you know, sudden unexpected changes. The lightning is striking and knocking the crown off the tower, the crown being the seat of awareness, the mind, thinking, consciousness. So this could be the fear, I mean, of destruction, obviously, but the fear of kind of losing your head, of, you know, things were built with a certain mindset leading and guiding that building. And it's like, what happens when that's gone? You've surely already tasted this recently. But, and you know, we have this card of building here, the Three of Pentacles. Now, this is a card of collaboration as well. It's the master plan. It's planning the way forward. And if this were, honestly, if this were anywhere else in the reading, this is a very positive card for me. And I always talk about, like, it's collaboration. It's kind of mapping out the way forward. It's things requiring a plan. But in this position in this spread, coupled with the Tower, I think the fear here is that everything you've built is going to come crashing down. Oops, excuse me. A lot of work and planning went into this Three of Pentacles. You've invested a lot. Other people may be involved. And the fear is, if you make this choice, this new version of you, well, what does that mean for all this? Is this change going to bring everything you built crashing to the ground? And then where does that leave you? That's a tough spot to be in. That's a very, you know, and again, bottom of the deck energy here, Seven of Cups are cups of confusion. Which do I choose? Which way do I go? And there isn't necessarily a wrong choice, but choice brings change, and that is scary. A change brings chaos. You know, it's not easy. So this, but mind you, this is hopes and fears, okay? So this is kind of what's playing on your mind, how you're perceiving the circumstances. And then for potential outcome, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles is a beautiful, new, tangible beginning. And it may be tied to this Lovers. This could be the new choice and what comes with the new choice. Or it could be choosing to stay the same, but because you've shifted, you know, things can come to you differently where you are. But in any case, it speaks to a tangible new beginning coming in. I want to get some cards for advice. I mean, this is all very positive, and it's all going to flow sort of no matter what. But I just kind of want to look at, like, as this is happening, as you're moving through this, as you're fearing the Tower and integrating and, you know, becoming aware of these choices. What is the advice? Oh, goodness. Well, that's some, okay, I can't show this card. 1 second. You know what? I'm going to do this. So we have the Devil and we have Death. Now, my intention is to get 3, so let me get 1 more. But actually, you know what? Let me talk about this first. Okay. I have to cover up these people. Let me show this to you. All right, so our Devil card here. Notice how similar this card is to our Lovers, which I also can't show you because these people aren't wearing clothes. But notice how similar here, okay? We've got the Devil up here with his wings looming over these people, and it has them chained, if you can see that, to where they are. So this is temptation, addictive behaviors. This is sort of like shadow thoughts that, you know, have not been dealt with. You know, this is one of those cards you sort of want to see it reversed because it means releasing those things. But this upright shows the presence of those things. Attachments, obsessions, temptations. And okay, so the point being, look how similar that is to the Lovers. This is like the antithesis of the Lovers. Now, Death came out with this. This is the natural process of cycles, of, you know, things coming apart in order to be purified and remade into something new. So let's get 1 more card here to round out our advice. Okay, Page of Cups. Love to see that. Don't love to see what's on the bottom of the deck. 9 of Swords, which isn't surprising with our Devil coming out here. That is some tough energy. So one thing, I think number one, this is just sort of affirming to trust the process, because what is dying here to be reborn is these old patterns that are destructive, that are keeping you attached, obsessed, stuck, chained, and not free to love, to live, to offer your cup here. And this is saying trust the cycle, because death is going to do its work. And we can either go with it or we can fight it, but it's going to do its work. And death is not to be feared. It is a very positive card. It is a natural turning and changing of things. And then, so last card of advice here, Page of Cups. So one of the things I'm hearing with this Page of Cups is just take it lightly. This is going to be a process. Stay in your sense of, innocence is not naivete. Innocence is no matter what you've gone through, you still know the good in yourself and in the world. And you can hold fast to that, and you can consciously choose it despite whatever else is going on, despite our devil attachments. And this is saying stay close to that part of yourself and take very, very, very small steps. Check in with that part of yourself before you take the step. And it's one small step at a time. Don't be afraid of and I think, the devil also is coming out here, particularly with this Nine of Swords showing up. It's just, speaking to the fear that might come up around this process. There's nothing bad here. There's nothing to fear. What is it? What the president who said, there is nothing to fear but fear itself. That might be the overall theme of this reading. There's no need to fear. This is a good, positive process. So don't let it get the better of you. Stay close to your Page of Cups. Stay, for me, my pages also, a very important message with my pages is don't isolate. We don't have the Hermit here. And that does not mean overextend yourself. It doesn't mean, give during a period where you also need to be healing. It's just, stay a little bit involved. Keep yourself the littlest bit open. Make sure that you are still doing some things that, keep that exchange of flow of life, that keep you involved in that exchange of flow in life, even if it's just very small. And this is saying keep it small, keep it simple. This is a page. But, little by little, from that place of unbroken goodness in you. Okay, that is the reading for this week. I will talk to you soon. Take care.